If you love watching travel adventures, then Small-Brained American YouTube channel might be one of your favorites. Connor McBee is the face of this channel. His story is quite fascinating. In this video, I'll tell you how his love for travel started and how he fulfilled his dream of traveling from Ireland to Japan despite facing countless challenges. I'll also tell you how he got inspired by Anthony Bourdain and some adventurous travel YouTubers, and how he started his YouTube channel and became a successful YouTuber. So, now let's start from the beginning. Connor McBee was born in 1993 and hails from Toccoa, Georgia, U.S. His family originally hails from Liverpool, England, and he has French, Irish, and English ancestry. Connor was a child actor and later, he wanted to become a stand-up comedian after graduating from college, but as we all know, fate had other plans for him and he became a YouTuber. His first international trip was at 16. At the time, he was in high school and he along with his friends traveled to London on a week-long trip to play drums with Mill Creek Band in the New Year's Day parade. Connor couldn't enjoy this trip as the parents were micromanaging students' activities, and he didn't have enough time to explore historical landmarks like Stonehenge. From 18 to 22, he was a part of the Drum Corps International, DCI, and traveled to all the 50 U.S. states. While in DCI, Connor had his first real experience of traveling and fast-paced travel life. Here, traveling was anything but glamorous as he used to sleep sitting down in his tour bus and also sleep on the floor, drink water from fire hoses and shower in random schools across the country. These experiences taught him that traveling doesn't have to be glamorous and he could travel anywhere if he lowered his expectations. While performing in DCI, Connor participated in the Carolina Crown and won a silver medal at the World Championships. Now, let's take a brief look at his education and Europe trip. In 2012, Connor joined the University of Georgia to study political science and government. In his senior year, he studied in Europe for 6 weeks, during which he traveled to Poland, Italy, and Switzerland. Later, he returned to the U.S. and graduated in 2016. At 20, as Connor wanted to become a lawyer, he took an internship with a lawyer and moved to his place in Washington State and lived with the lawyer for a month. At the time, he owned a truck and filled his weekends with lots of solo traveling and hiking and enjoyed the freedom, which made him fall in love with solo traveling. Connor's time after graduation wasn't great as he was lost in life and addicted to drugs. At the time, he started applying to petty part-time jobs. He stumbled upon an ad for teaching English in Prague in the Czech Republic. He applied for this job and got accepted, but after realizing that he could also teach English in Japan, which has been his favorite country, he decided to travel to Japan instead of the Czech Republic. Up until that time, Connor didn't travel to Japan, but he fell in love with the country after hearing praise from his friend, Lance. Lance continually worked as a touring musician in Japan for a year and was full of praise for its culture, people, food, safety, and cleanliness. At the time, Connor was inspired by Anthony Bourdain traveling to a place, staying there exploring its culture thoroughly for an extended period of time. As his previous travel experiences weren't on a deep level, this time around, he wanted to live in Japan for an extended period and fully experience it. So, in September 2018, he flew from the U.S. to Japan. Here, he started working as a full-time English instructor at Nova Holdings in Osaka. Connor worked in this job until September 2019 and earned $25,000 per year and traveled all over Japan and to Thailand. He didn't love his job in Japan, and even though he is a TFL-certified teacher, he didn't want to teach English his whole life. At the time, Connor used to share his travel stories with people in Osaka bars, and people used to love listening to him. They encouraged him to start a blog, but as he wasn't into blogging, he didn't start one. But he desired an online career with a focus on traveling. He read the Vagabonding book, which changed his whole outlook towards travel and inspired him to travel slowly and experience the surroundings. Then, Connor returned from Japan to the U.S. for a short-lived relationship. From 2019 to 2021, he worked as a remote freelance English instructor at VIP Kid. In 2021, he also worked as a remote case manager for Goldfein. Connor also worked as an English tutor for Latinos at a community college, and while working here, he would save money with which he would travel, and once he runs out of money, he would rejoin at the job and repeat the cycle. In March 2020, he booked a ticket to Ecuador, but the COVID-19 pandemic foiled his plan, and he was stuck at home for 4 months. At the time, Connor binge-watched YouTube channels like Bald and Bankrupt, PP Peter, indigo traveler and all gas no brakes and fell in love with their traveling to off-the-beaten destinations like North Korea and Siberia. Their videos not only made him feel liberated, but also gave him the confidence that he could make a living by becoming a content creator. So, Connor started his YouTube channel by the name Small Brained American on December 16, 2020. He started driving across the US, but at the time, he didn't have the confidence to shoot videos. Now, I'll tell you about his adventurous journey from Ireland all the way to Japan. Connor's desire to navigate one of the biggest land masses of the world made him embark on a trip from Ireland to Japan. Prior to flying to Ireland, he flew to Buenos Aires and got himself tattooed, and then he flew to Ireland and bought a motorcycle and saved some money by working on a small farm hostel. Then, Connor took a ferry to Wales. Here, he worked by renovating an old historical house built in the 1500s. Later, he traveled to England where he stayed for a month, and then he traveled to London, and from here, he traveled to northern France. He had an amazing time near Eiffel Tower. Later, Connor rode his motorcycle to Germany. Riding his motorcycle on the amazing roads of Germany was a feast. He couch-surfed in Germany and then rode to Czechia, Slovakia, and Poland. Those were one of the most stressful times of his travels, as he wasn't earning from his YouTube channel, and as Europe was expensive, he feared whether or not he could complete his trip to Japan. This stress was so much that Connor was unable to enjoy his time at Zakopane, a beautiful resort town in southern Poland. Then, he rode his motorcycle to Poland, eastern Ukraine, and then to Moldova. Here, he suffered from rain, military checkpoints, closed border crossings, and unpaved roads. Adding injury to insult, his motorcycle started breaking down and he had to struggle to refuel it. And for all these troubles, Connor was getting only a few hundreds of views on his videos. From Moldova, he rode to Transnistria and Romania, and he celebrated his 29th birthday with his friend, Steve, by a 5-day trip to North Macedonia, Serbia, and Budapest, Hungary. From Budapest, Connor took a train to Romania and then rode his bike to Bulgaria, where he tried to sell his motorcycle as it was requiring a high import tax, and also, it didn't have proper insurance, and he felt that the motorcycle trip would take too long and would be expensive. At the time, his plan was to sell off his motorcycle and continue his journey to Japan. After struggling to sell his Ireland-registered motorcycle for a month, he finally sold his $2,500 bike for $900. Then, Connor caught a train to Turkey where he met his girlfriend, Sarah. Later, he traveled to Iraq, which is one of his favorite countries, as he felt Iraqis to be very warm and hospitable. He also became a fan of their cuisine. His plan was to travel to Iran, but as he needed to hire a taxi driver to drive him the length of Iran, which would cost him thousands of dollars just for a week, he skipped the country and instead decided to travel to Pakistan. But this time also, luck didn't favor Connor. He applied for the Pakistani visa and bought a plane ticket, but as he didn't get the visa on time, he had to cancel the flight. Then, he applied for an Indian visa, which he received promptly, and he flew to India. Connor spent 8 weeks in India and went on a meditation retreat. He loved Kolkata but hated Delhi due to its sickening pollution. From India, he traveled to Pakistan through the land border. He spent a week there and got food poisoning and later returned to India. Then, Connor flew from Kolkata to Myanmar and then to Bangkok, Cambodia, and Vietnam. At the end of 2023, he concluded his arduous journey in Japan. Here, he worked in Daisuke's ramen shop and stayed in a homestay. While living in the U.S., living with his parents and saving money enabled Connor to travel to 26 countries in a year with $23,000. At the start of his Ireland to Japan trip, he hoped that by the end of his trip, he would have at least 50,000 subscribers and would earn a full-time income from his channel. But his dreams shattered as he only got a total 7,000 subscribers, with which he wasn't able to earn a decent income. Luckily, Connor's adventures in India, Myanmar, and Ha Giang Loop in Vietnam became viral, and in November 2023, after around 3 years of starting his channel, he hit 100,000 subscribers. Within December 2023, he surpassed 200K subscribers, and thanks to this, he started earning a good income from his channel. Connor earns through a variety of sources like ads and merchandise. He also accepts donations on Patreon, Venmo, and PayPal. In addition to his primary channel, he has 2 other channels, namely Small Brained American Shorts and Small Brained Pod. Now, Connor doesn't want to do long trips but do short trips where he gets a chance to stay at the place. explore the culture and languages. So, how are you inspired by his success story? Please comment below. I also wrote Connor McBee's detailed biography on my website, which I'm linking in the description below. If you love this story, please subscribe to my channel for more such inspiring stories of your favorite YouTubers.